Welcome to Brain Friends, where two neuro nerds talk all things aphasia, language recovery, culture, and community. I am Dr. Davetrina Seles Gadson, a clinical speech-language pathologist and neuroscientist.
And I am Angie Cawthorn, stroke survivor and aphasia advocate.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome to Brain Friends.
We want to thank all of our listeners for downloading the podcast. We appreciate everyone listening, so please tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here.
And we are.
Today, we're talking about social circle.
Yes, it is so important.
Yeah. Do you have a big social circle?
No, not as big as it used to be. I think with aphasia, it kind of gets, it boils down to just the salt in the pan. It goes down to the essence.
The salt in the pan. What does that mean, the salt in the pan?
That means when you, if you boil water, or like salt water, sometimes you only end up, if you boil it all the way down, you only get the salt in the pan. So after, my point is, you can start out with a lot of water. You boil it all the way down, and all you get left is the salt in the pan, the essence. Yeah. And for me, that's the best friend in the world, my friend Tay, and my husband.
Ooh, okay, all right. I want to know more about Tay and your husband, but can we do an icebreaker first?
Let's do that.
Okay. 3 words, Angie, that describe you.
3 words that describe me. I'm going to go with determined, forward-leaning, and worthy.
Determined.
Forward-leaning.
Forward-leaning. And worthy. And
I'm worthy.
Well, okay, tell me about those. Well, determined I get.
Right. Forward-leaning means positive thinking. I think in a forward manner. I don't think stagnant. I think forward always. Like what will that do? And then what will that do? And then what do I do then? And how do I perform this? I'm always thinking forward. So I'm always I'm leaning forward. If I fall, I'm not falling back. I'm going to fall forward.
Wow. I like that.
So that's that one. And I'm worthy.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Listen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm worthy. So yeah, that. So that's my 3. What's up with you? What you got? I need 3 words. I need a description. I need to know.
So my 3 words would be honest, humorous,
okay, and
dedicated.
Okay. Dedicated.
Yeah.
Dedicated.
So I think that obviously, I'm a horrible liar. That's just the reality of it. Like I have tried to lie in the past and my memory is so bad and I just forget what I said and then I get caught up and then, yeah. So you're just going to get it from me.
So you're not honest by virtue. You're honest by because you ain't got no option because you're just not good at lying. Okay, you know what? I need you.
Look, sometimes God has to really make you that person.
Obviously, because you're like, oh, but if I could lie, I'd be lying all the time, but I'm just not good at it. See, I'm like. Okay, that's an icebreaker right there. I would lie if I could, but I am not good at it. That is wow. That's the truth right there. There you go.
Look, and I'm dedicated.
And you're dedicated to telling the truth.
See, look at that.
See, look at it. Won't he do it? I think that's a phenomenal icebreaker. I think that's good stuff.
And I bet it changes on the day. Now you ask me, because I'm a Gemini.
Okay.
So you ask me tomorrow.
Right. Right. You might be, you know what? I don't feel like it. I am stubborn. I don't like none of y'all. And I'm patient to put up with this.
And I'm
Right.
patient to put up with
It
this.
it might be a whole new set of answers, but I think that's the joy of growing. It's changing those answers, and being different and being something positive every day.
Right. Now, your 3 words, would you say that your Tay and your hubby describe you in that way?
I think I'd like to think they would. I know they would say I'm determined.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and forwardly. Yeah, yeah. I don't think they would argue with either one of those. I think Tay would be like she's a boss or something in that something like yeah, she's a good friend. She would big me up though. She would big me up for sure. And my husband, he ain't got no choice.
Well, look,
Look, hell, hello. This is 23 years,
I was
so
gonna say, well, that's probably a tip. I
right.
mean, I'm
That's a
taking
tip.
it in on how you get to 23 years.
That's a tip. Let me jot this down. Don't say nothing bad. No, I think my determination and my way of thinking positively and always kind of pushing is they would definitely agree with that. And the pushing they're not real fans of,
Mm-hmm.
especially within my recovery. Um, they are they call themselves Team Angie.
Mm.
My husband's the president, Tay's the vice president. They called a meeting last night, talked like I wasn't even in the room. I
Oh,
let them do it.
wow.
I let them do it. I let them do it because I know they're doing it out of love. And, because I'm speaking at a conference tomorrow.
Ooh,
And
congratulations.
thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm doing this today. And I had something I had to do this morning. So I've been busy, and they recognize that my battery is not that great. Like I
Mm.
can, and then I might plan too much. And then by Friday, I'm done. I'm a wet
Mm-hmm.
noodle. And
Mm-hmm.
they want to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, you got to stretch though. You have to
Mm-hmm.
stretch to see where your limitations are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I wasn't speaking, when my aphasia was much worse, and then there was a point where it was like, well, I knew those blockages would be there. So then I just kept always going around the blockages. And then I began to, well, let me see if I can go through them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me stretching. But so within all things, you have to be what? Forward leaning. It's
Mm-hmm.
all goes back to being forward leaning
Mm-hmm.
and just
Well,
trying to push through.
so let me ask you then, how do you navigate the stretching that you need, but also respect the
Hmm.
advocacy and support that your
Protection.
protection exactly that your people are given?
It is tough. It's tough. And um, for me, I let them win. And I do say let them, not in a diss, but it is the truth because I realize they're not saying it except for to protect me. And I'm blessed to have people that actually want to take the time to give 2 cents to protect me rather than saying, all right, well, let's just see what you can do. Go ahead and run. You'll be all right. You don't want that either. You want someone who has your best interests at heart. And like I said, they literally called the meeting last night, and, I had to hear all of their reasonings. And I'm like, okay, I, I would say this. I believe that Tay wouldn't say it if it weren't true. And my
Yeah.
husband would not say it if it weren't true.
Mm-hmm.
So I can rest in that. Now, if I agree with it or not, that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
But I give them the respect as my friends because before my husband is my husband, he's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So my friends aren't going to do me dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I think they ain't doing me right, then that's a whole nother. that's a whole nother set of nonsense I don't have to deal with. And I can appreciate why a person may not, if their support system ain't that supportive, then I can't listen to you because I don't think you have my best interests at heart. But in my case, yeah, I can, whatever they tell me, I can take that to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they all right. And Kill Charles, he dresses nice, smells pretty good. I'm gonna go
That
ahead and keep
always
him.
helps.
No, listen, it's got all his teeth. No, he's a good guy. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble for that. See, that's the thing about the podcast. We just start chatting it up. Then I say something more inappropriate.
We are recording.
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So, but yeah, I think the social part of this is so, especially when you have aphasia, because people kind of dip in and dip out, and they don't your other friends, and I do have a lot of other friends. I'm not going to say I don't, but my quote unquote, I would say my care partners are Charles and Tay. Um, your friends, they don't mean to abandon you. I don't think, but they do because they don't know how to receive you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they realize you can tell them I'm just the same person, but when you don't have your funny comebacks and things aren't as funny, or you can't hang out past 5:30 because you're exhausted by 3:30, those type of things get in the way, and they don't know how to receive the new you, and people just don't know how to respond. So they recoil,
Mm-hmm.
and then that breaks down, and then that adds to your anxiety, that adds to your depression, that adds to just layers of perhaps not feeling worthy.
Mm. Yeah.
It adds in, and people don't realize how important that phone call is, especially when you're going through it. And
That's
I can.
that's one thing that I was going to ask you about, the phone call. So there's research out that talks a lot about social isolation in aphasia is huge, and that
Mhm.
sometimes it's even greater in men with aphasia because of men having their friends having trouble with knowing what to do, how to communicate. And so you mentioned a call. Um, is that something that simple can be great, um,
it
for you from a social life perspective?
it can be, because I mean, just reach out, whatever that might be. And if that phone call is to call to say, hey, I'm coming to get you so we can go see this movie, because I don't have to talk to you for us to enjoy a movie. That's something that we can do, and I can still feel a part and take it all in, and not feel like something is missing from
That's
me,
a great
like I'm
idea.
at a deficit.
Yeah.
Because then that adds into the depression. Because as people with aphasia, we say we want you to call, but when you call and we're like, yeah, I don't want to go because I know I'm at a deficit, and I feel some kind of way, that I'm not 100%, and then I feel bad about that. It is a I will say it. I will die on this hill. It feels absolutely soul wrenching when your brain is not operating at the capacity that you think it should. And that with aphasia, I always have what I want to say. It's always there, but it's not always accessible. Um, and I have cried many, many real tears because of it. And then that makes friends feel uncomfortable too, because especially at the beginning, when everybody is coming to see you, you're a mess. You are
Yeah.
mid avalanche, but you look fine.
Is the mid avalanche some of that, like mourning and grief because you're now in this space with your friends and you're not able to communicate, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Short answer.
Yes.
I don't even know
Yeah.
how to extend that answer. Yes.
Okay.
Because when people come in, let's say you're there, you had a stroke, people come in to see you, and of course you're excited to see them. But I can't remember my best friend's wife's name, or my cousin's kid's name. And now I'm embarrassed because I do know their name, but I can't call it. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know I couldn't call Elijah. I got to call him Sybil's kid. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Sybil. I don't want her to hear this and then think I just attacked. Shout out to Sybil.
Hey.
Shout out to Sid. Sid.
What up,
But yeah,
Sid?
exactly. Shout out to
Brain
Sybil.
friends.
But those type of relationships, and that's another thing, the relationships that have come out of this, those people that call me once a week, um, the people I would have named, I would have said, hey, this one, this one, this one, this one, they'll have my back through this journey. And it's not them. Tay wouldn't have been on the list.
Mm,
You know what I mean? But she was here last night
yeah.
and she'll be here tomorrow.
Does she
You
live in the
know,
same area as you?
she does. She lives
Okay.
about 8 minutes away. But the
Okay.
funny thing is, we didn't realize that she lived this close to me until 3 months before my stroke. We had just found out, like, she knew she lived nearby, but she didn't know how close. She didn't know how close. And then turns out she lived like 8 minutes away, and we hung out once. And then the next time I hung out with her, I was supposed to hang out with her to go shopping. She's my fashion friend. You got that friend that make sure you straight.
Oh
She's
yeah.
that friend.
Right.
She is fashion tag. And I was going on a cruise, and so she was supposed to take me out to make sure I was good. And I had a stroke that day, and I called her, and she was like, I didn't call her or something. And when I talked to her, I was like, listen, I've had a stroke, and I've always said I have aphasia, so I'm saying it really bad. I'm like, but don't worry about it. It's all good. I'll see you when I see you. She called her husband and was like, yeah, I'm not coming home. I'm going to see Angie.
Oh wow.
She was like, yeah, whatever
Wow.
you're talking about, I'm on the way.
I'm on the way.
And she has not left my side.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to ask you a question because this topic gets me really excited.
What you got? What you got?
Well, so a lot of my work has centered around health related quality of life and social functioning to better help practitioners understand that there's more to aphasia than just the language impairment.
Mhm.
There's the need to socially function, whether that's social participation or have social communication, have your social support, your social network, but most importantly, to ask the person with aphasia what they want to do in order to be able to lead a fulfilling life. Because you've had, you once were at this space and then now
Mhm.
you've had the stroke. And so I'm going to just call out two terms and I want you to tell me if you think that they are the same or different.
Okay.
Social support and social network.
No, I don't think they're the same. I think
Okay.
I think support is Sybil, my husband. Um, I think network is all everybody else. You know what I mean? I think my social network is all the other relationships. My church is my social network. That's my social network. My support groups is my social network. But my social support, um, as my cousin, my cousin Crystal. You know what I mean? Again, goes back to, that nucleus of friends that you have. But I mean, even while I'm at work, pre-stroke, I mean, you only got like, after college, you only get like three real good friends. Like as adults, like what are we talking about?
No new friends. No new friends.
No newbies. You know what I mean? And listen, shout out to Jackie Braxton. Look, the point is, you have friends that ride with you.
Yeah.
You have friends that ride with you. And then you have your friends that are your social network, but not your social support. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Because, and I know I don't want to get in any trouble because I'm thinking like, oh yeah, so and so's gonna be like, oh, you ain't say me, ain't you? I got your back,
Look,
Ange.
don't name drop.
Right,
No
but now,
more.
right,
So
right, 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 exactly. But the thing is, y'all know if y'all called me or not. Y'all know if
right,
y'all was something.
right, right,
Right, right.
right.
If
You
Tigger
know who
don't
you
know you,
are.
right? If Tigger don't know you,
Okay, so then my follow-up question, because I have two more terms I want to ask you about, but my follow-up question is, do you think that social support and social network are important for people with aphasia in the recovery process?
in the recovery process, I would say the network is more important than support.
Okay.
Um, just because it is the network is in my mind larger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's a network. It's
Yeah.
it's your church family. You know what I mean? Shout out to St. Luke's. The point is, you want to listen.
Look, we are accepting sponsors.
Yes, yes, Father,
So
holler at your
as you
girl.
can see, at any point we could drop your name as a sponsor,
Right, get
as our
this.
listeners are enjoying all the content.
The banter. They come for the banter. Right, get some education, but stay for the banter. Um,
Okay, that's good. I like
yeah,
that.
network,
Okay.
network for sure.
So my next two are social participation and social relationships.
You're gonna have to explain to me what you mean.
Okay. So social participation, your ability to go and play. I'm sure you may not play bingo, but go and play bingo or spades. Let me bring it cultural. Your ability to play, play a card game. Your ability to have a podcast.
Play pinochle.
Pinochle. Your ability to go out and, go to the mall with your friend and those things, like social participation in those activities. And I
Okay.
said social relationships, which is there, but what I meant to say was social roles. And what I mean by that is going back to work, if that was a role that you had, being a treasurer, if, you were a treasurer of
Right, I got
an
you.
organization, being a mother if you are a mother, so a difference between social participation. So first, my question is, do you think that there's a difference between those things, social participation and social roles?
Yeah, you just defined them. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Do you think that difference plays a role in recovery for people with aphasia?
You didn't have to add that part, but thank you. Yeah, I think it does. I don't know if I can articulate that.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, that's I don't I do, but it's not available.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. As you're continuing to recover
Mm-hmm.
and you've made many milestones doing things that you were doing before,
Yeah.
do you find that your greatest aspect of recovery. So whatever moment you feel like, now that I can do this, I'm back on my way. Is that moment or that activity deal with you as you're being back in a role of some way, or you being able to participate in an activity, or neither?
I would say probably a role.
What is it, if you don't mind sharing with the people?
No, I know it sounds silly, but it would be work. Being a
Oh,
financial manager, I enjoyed it. Selling, I was the finance, and I was a mortgage banker before that. I enjoyed working with numbers. I enjoyed working with people. I enjoyed helping people get their finances straightened and owning a home. It was really fulfilling to me. People don't know how credit works. I would be like, oh, I swear I was able to excel and be helpful, to my fellow man.
yeah.
You want to contribute. And that was the way I always contributed. So to be able to do something in that form, and I know how crazy it sounds when people say, well, I'm not retired. I'm disabled. But, people are like, well, you get to stay home. That's great. No, I didn't leave on my own terms, though. I
Yeah.
was, and there is nobody likes to be forced to do anything. You know what I mean? That's the real read. It's all fun and games if you want to leave, but when you're forced to leave, it hits different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So to make sure I understand, so you've gotten back into finance, or you haven't gotten back into
I
finance?
have not gotten back into
Okay.
finance.
Okay.
Numbers are such a blur to me.
Okay.
Um, yeah, dealing with numbers, counting, is still very difficult for me to navigate. They're
Okay.
very hard.
Okay. So is there so that was like definitely something really important to you,
Yes.
that after the stroke you haven't been able to get back into that role of
Right.
okay. Is there something that now, after the stroke and where you are today, because how many years ago did you
I
have
am
your
5 years in on 5/11.
I got 5 on it.
Talking about man, don't me.
All
That's my
things
jam.
culture and community. I love it. I love
Yes.
it. Okay, so
Yes.
we only have a little bit of time left. So my last question was, is there something that you have now been able to start doing again that you
Church.
really, really church? So the participation, going
My
and being participating in church.
I am, long story short, it would be like I'm an acolyte, which is like uh my like an altar boy, but I'm a girl. I'm Episcopalian, so they call it an acolyte. The point is, it's like an altar boy, but like I said, it's called an acolyte. And I wasn't able to do thurifer. I wasn't able to serve. I'm also a lay Eucharistic minister. I give communion.
Mm.
And I went to give communion when I had my stroke, and I realized I couldn't. I went from saying the blood of Christ, the cup of salvation, to you want to sip or nah. Like it was, it went, girl, it was so bad. And, I didn't know I started as I do. I started so strong. And, by the time I got to the 20th person, I was like, look, y'all know what it is. The Lord knows my heart.
You here, ain't you?
You here, ain't you? You better go ahead and take this sip and keep it pushing.
Take a sip and keep it pushing.
Right. It tanked real bad. But yeah, that was a big deal when I could serve on the altar. That was a very big deal for me. But again, my social network was there from my church to egg me on, to support me, and to
Wow.
receive me, and give me that atta girl when I did. You know,
Yeah.
so and that's how I met my husband. We met at church in
Ooh,
like
won't he do it,
1984.
Lord?
Exactly. So that's a big part of our relationship and who we are. So it was very important to me.
Wow. Well, we're at time, but I think the closing message that I got, and you tell me if I'm right. Not if I'm wrong. Just tell me if I'm right. Is that social functioning, social circles, all of that's really important to recovery.
It is essential
Essential.
because, and for the people that do not have aphasia, and I would like to think that this is mostly our listeners will be people with aphasia and SPLs that are charged to help them. But for the
Mm-hmm.
family members that are listening, you know, um, that social network is so important. And I've probably, like I said, I've probably cried more tears than you could imagine um, at my embarrassment of myself. And that makes people uncomfortable. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that. And so when you get uncomfortable, still hang in there because your friend is still there. They still there.
That's beautiful.
And hopefully they still is fly. Now look, if they weren't fly from the
Look,
beginning, they ain't gonna be
look.
fly. Like you ain't gonna get fly. But hopefully they had they were good enough to be a friend with before, so they're still good enough because they're still the same person. But if they
Exactly.
was a little shady before, mm,
Oh, Angie, thanks so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you and we appreciate our listeners. We are the Brain Friends.
Brain
Thank you.
friends.
Thank you for
Thank you
listening.
for listening.
Peace, y'all.
Bye.